A powerful Olympian and Greek god of the sea, this deity was unruly and rebellious, capable of mass destruction through earthquakes and floods. He stuck his nose in the business of both gods and mortals, often ending with, let's just say, less than pleasant results. Hello and welcome to Pantheon Mythology. Join me today as we dive deep into the background and stories that surround the Greek god of the sea himself, Poseidon. Get it? Deep dive? Because he's god of the sea? So, like and subscribe. Poseidon was one of the big three in the Olympic Pantheon alongside his bros Zeus and Hades, and was highly regarded for his immense power, second only to younger brother Zeus. Why is it always the youngest who get the best genetics? Poseidon was known first of all as the god of the sea and protector of sailors, but also held sway over earthquakes and horsemanship. Throughout Greece, Poseidon had a strong following in maritime cities like Athens and Corinth. He was also known as Neptune to the Romans. Poseidon was known for being just as wild as the ocean waves that he called home. A troublemaker, rule breaker, rebel, and risk-taker, he was commonly up to no good and was not shy in expressing his resistance to Zeus's rule over the Greek pantheon, even going as far as to challenge him for the throne. But more on that later. The Greeks loved to tell stories about Poseidon, especially in Homer's epic poems, the Iliad and the Odyssey. In these tales, Poseidon played the role of the ultimate wild card, causing chaos and turmoil for sailors and seagoers alike. But, in a way, these tales also gave the Greeks a sense of control over the one thing they couldn't fully understand: the mysterious and unpredictable sea. Alongside siblings Hestia, Demeter, Hades, Hera, and Zeus, Poseidon was born from the union of the Titans, Rhea and Cronus, who ruled all before the rise of the Olympian Pantheon. But when Daddy Cronus found out that one of his little ones was destined to take his throne, he did what any rational Titan would do. He swallowed them all whole. Fortunately, Zeus avoided this fate thanks to some quick thinking from his mother, and through his own wit, managed to bring his brothers and sisters back from the innards of their father's stomach. Poseidon joined forces with Zeus and the gang for the epic showdown known as the Titanomachy. And after giving the Titans a good whipping, the boys, Zeus, Hades and Poseidon divvied up the cosmos and drew straws to decide who would rule what. Zeus took the sky and lands, Hades the underworld, and our boy Poseidon, much like my grades in school, got the seas. A buff bearded dude, much like his brothers, his trademark weapon was a three-pronged trident which he used to strike down his enemies, control the sea and cause earthquakes. As a majestic deity, Poseidon was too special to swim, although he could of course. But with that, his main method of transport was a chariot pulled by the hippocampi, part horse, part snake, and they would glide gracefully across the waters. And although horses were his favoured animal, he was also closely associated with dolphins, seahorses, tuna, and bulls. Poseidon would tie the knot with Amphitrite, a sea nymph, and they had 3 children: Triton, the merman, Benthesissime, and Rhodos, patron goddess of, Rhodes, and future wife of Helios. Much like his younger brother Zeus, Poseidon was notorious for his playboy ways, which led to several illegitimate offspring, including some of the most famous figures in Greek mythology. He had a baby with his grandma, Gaia, the giant Antaeus, who took on Hercules in the 12 Labours, and Charybdis, a sea monster who terrorized travelers in the Straits of Messina with its massive whirlpools. He also got busy with Aphrodite and even his sister Demeter. Legend has it that he even fathered 2 kids with her, including a little talking horse named Arion. Oh nay. One of his most famous conquests, though, was Medusa, who he assaulted in the Temple of Athena, essentially leading her down the path to become the reclusive monster we all know her as. This also led to the pregnancy of the snake-haired one, who would give birth to Pegasus and the giant Chrysaor through the unconventional method of them bursting through her neck when she was decapitated by Perseus. But his seed-sowing didn't stop there. He courted another nymph, Teucer, who gave birth to the giant one-eyed Polyphemus, the Cyclops who caused all sorts of trouble for the clever Odysseus on his journey back from Troy, with disastrous results. Plenty of mortals would also get a poke with his trident, as he fathered a number of heroes and other prominent characters from the Greek Pantheon, including Theseus, Bellerophon, the slayer of monsters, the hunter Orion, the troublemaking duo Otus and Ephialtes, who tried to invade Olympus, the twin powerhouses Peleus and Neleus, and Proteus, the master of disguise. All in all, it's fair to say that Poseidon had quite the family tree. Poseidon was known for his schemes to shake up the status quo, both among humans and gods. In one famous tale, as told in the Iliad, although sadly in brief, Poseidon teamed up with Athena and Hera to overthrow Zeus himself. They tried to trick Zeus and trap him on his throne, but their plan was foiled by the clever sea nymph, Thetis. She summoned Briareus, one of the 100-handed Hecatoncheires monsters, to save the day. These same beasts helped the Olympian gods defeat the Titans and giants in the Titanomachy, so they had no trouble handling a little uprising from some rogue gods. As punishment for his betrayal, Poseidon, who enlisted the help of Apollo, was ordered to help build the walls of the mighty city of Troy for its king, Laomedon. Despite doing the work to a brilliant standard, Poseidon was fuming when Laomedon didn't pay them for their efforts when the job was complete. So, as revenge, Poseidon sent a sea monster to terrorize Troy. Fortunately for the people of the city, Heracles stepped in and saved the day, taking out the monster. But just like Poseidon, wasn't paid on completion of the task. Heracles, enraged, retaliated by killing Laomedon after he tried to cheat him too. Oh, and Heracles also made off with Laomedon's daughter, Hesione, just for good measure. What's the lesson here then? Always pay your tradesmen. Another famous story featuring the rugged sea god is the face-off between himself and niece Athena. In the city-founding days of Athens, before it was named Athens, Poseidon and Athena entered a friendly competition to see who could become the city's patron deity by gifting the people of the city one thing each. Poseidon tried to impress by hitting a rock and creating a salt water spring, while Athena countered by bringing forth an olive tree. While water is great, salt water, on the other hand, is horrendous, so Athena won the competition, and Poseidon, being the hot-headed god he was, threw a tantrum and flooded a good chunk of Attica. A similar showdown took place in Argos, where Poseidon lost to Hera, and in true Poseidon fashion, he flooded a significant portion of the country as his form of retaliation. In the Trojan War, Poseidon was said to have major involvement. The Trojan War began when the Trojan prince Paris abducted Helen, wife of King Menelaus of Greece. Poseidon, along with many other powerful gods, sided with the Greeks in the war. In Homer's Iliad, which narrates a crucial period of the war in its final year, Poseidon intervened multiple times to support the Greeks. During a crucial moment in the war, the Greeks were on the verge of defeat, so, in an effort to help, Poseidon disguised himself as the prophet Calchas to avoid detection by Zeus, who had commanded the god stay out of the conflict. This moment was captured in beautiful detail in Homer's Iliad. Forthwith then, he went down from the rugged mount, striding forth with swift footsteps. And the high mountains trembled, and the woodland beneath the immortal feet of Poseidon as he went. Thrice he strode in his course, and with the fourth stride he reached his goal, even Aegae, where was his famous palace builded in the depths of the mere, golden and gleaming, imperishable forever. Thither came he, and let harness beneath his car his two bronze-hooved horses, swift of flight, with flowing manes of gold, and with gold he clad himself about his body, and grasped the well-wrought whip of gold, and stepped upon his car, and set out to drive over the waves. Then gambolled the sea beasts beneath him on every side from out the deeps, for well they knew their lord, and in gladness the sea parted before him. Right swiftly sped they on, and the axle of bronze was not wetted beneath, and unto the ships of the Achaeans did the prancing steeds bear their lord. Although Poseidon was providing support, the Greeks were still facing significant losses that were undermining their morale. The commander of the Greek army, Agamemnon, was becoming discouraged and suggested retreating to regain their strength. With the help of Hera, who captured Zeus's attention and put him to sleep with her alluring demeanor, Poseidon took advantage of the opportunity and revealed himself in all his glory. He rallied his troops and launched a fierce attack, leaving Prince Hector injured and giving the advantage to the Greeks. Eventually, Zeus woke up to Poseidon's presence on the battlefield by the sound of his furious roar and commanded the sea god to withdraw immediately. Poseidon obeyed, but made it clear to his fellow Olympians that it was 100% definitely not out of fear, but rather a sign of his great respect for the king of gods, Zeus. Yeah, right. Poseidon also appeared in Homer's Odyssey, a personal favourite of mine as a child. After the fall of Troy, Poseidon redirected his endless anger towards Odysseus, the famous hero who just wanted to go home after his adventures. Despite Odysseus fighting for the Achaeans, a collective name for the Greeks, he and his crew landed on an island inhabited by Polyphemus, the Cyclops, and Poseidon's son. Polyphemus started to devour members of the crew, leading Odysseus and his remaining men to hatch a plan to blind the monster. Using cunning, they deceived Polyphemus into getting drunk and then blinded him when he was unconscious. This act allowed Odysseus and his men to escape, but also sparked Poseidon's anger. The powerful god was more than capable of hindering Odysseus' journey home, and at one point Poseidon sent a storm to sink Odysseus' ship as he was departing the island of Calypso. The sea god also lured Odysseus close to another one of his offspring, the sea monster Charybdis, that caused devastating whirlpools. As the king of the ocean, Poseidon was both revered and feared by the Greeks. These seasoned sailors knew all too well the dangers that lurked beneath the waves, so they made sure to stay on his good side. Poseidon was honored in many ways, including temples, prayers, and sacrifices in the form of animals. In addition, several coastal settlements were named after him, such as the city of Poseidonia, modern-day Salerno in southern Italy. So, if you're ever in the area and feeling the earth shake, it's probably just Poseidon reminding you of his presence. Well, there it is then, Poseidon. What are your thoughts on this deity? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please take a moment to give it a like and subscribe if you're new here, as we release godly content every week. Why not also check out our Poseidon design on Pantheon Apparel? Our clothing brand features designs based on deities, beasts and legends from across the mythos. We're rated excellent on Trustpilot and ship worldwide. You'll find a link in the description. This video on the left here is one that YouTube thinks you'll love, and this playlist on the right here features every single one of our videos if you fancy a massive binge session. Perfect for a bedtime listen. I've been your host Adam, and thanks for tuning in. See you on the next one.